Hey guys, my name is Jack Stapleton. I'm a 2024 National Association of Realtors Director. I've been getting a lot of questions regarding the National Association of Realtors Settlement Agreement and what the actual terms are of the agreement. So let's myth bust some of the misconceptions out there and let's jump right into it. First of all, the 1.5 million realtors across the United States are protected, most of them, by a settlement agreement that the National Association of Realtors has agreed to the tune of over $400 million. Remember that the National Association of Realtors, as well as many state associations, local associations, and large brokerages, were sued for anti-competitive behavior. National Association of Realtors believed that cooperative compensation was transparent to the consumer and it was good for that transparency. However, it's in violation of federal law because we all know that if three brokers are in a room and they have a conversation regarding their rates, that is considered anti-competitive behavior, antitrust. Well, if those brokers were to simply write down their commissions on a piece of paper and share it with each other, that's anti-competitive behavior. And well, if they just take that piece of paper and enter it into a database and say, here is what we're offering everyone else, that also is deemed anti-competitive behavior. And so the National Association of Realtors still believes that it's fair and just to publish the commissions. The federal government doesn't, so a compromise had to be made. And the National Association of Realtors took it to court, and they did not win, and they lost to the tune of billions of dollars. In order for the National Association of Realtors to fight that claim, they would have had to post a bond for the settlement amount of billions of dollars, which they could have come up with, but it would have caused a consolidation of debt, and they probably would maybe even have won the lawsuit that was proposed, but there were hundreds of others right behind it, and they would have had to fight each one of them one after another. So after much deliberation, the National Association of Realtors decided that they were going to go ahead and settle it, and when it was brought into class action status, all of the lawsuits got put into one, and we were able to settle it, and the National Association of Realtors ponied up $400 million. Now remember that the plaintiffs, they were not very excited about cooperative compensation, and they wanted to see that end. However, the National Association of Realtors was able to advocate for us and negotiate the cooperative compensation would continue. However, it would continue off MLS and off any website that would act as an aggregator for commissions. A multi-broker website, even if that website only had two brokers and both those brokers were displaying the commissions, it's anti-competitive behavior. Things like Facebook groups, where maybe even it's closed to the consumers, but multiple different brokerages, multiple different agents for brokerages are in there, and posting their commissions on such a feed would be considered anti-competitive behavior. Now, what is the fallback for an agent who just decides, I don't want to be part of this, I don't agree to the settlement, and so I'm just not going to follow the rules? Twofold. One, it means that their membership could be pulled from them and no longer be a member of the National Association of Realtors, which may or may not include loss of MLS services. For the rules as they stand today, they would lose MLS services. But more importantly, the $400 million that the National Association of Realtors ponied up was designed to protect all of those brokerages and their agents who did less than $2 billion in production in calendar year 2022, which was most brokerages. That protected everyone. Everyone got pulled into that settlement agreement as a covered party, which means that once this is agreed to, and that will happen in November, so right now everything is proposed and the plaintiffs are very much watching all that is going on in the marketplace. They're watching Facebook, they're watching the commentary that agents have, they're watching Inman, and they're determining whether or not agents in good faith are going to comply with these terms of the settlement. But if the agent doesn't comply, which means they breach the settlement terms, all the agent is doing is no longer having the protections of the settlement agreement from NAR, and they expose themselves to be sued directly by the plaintiffs. And they are already expressed publicly that they feel that they should have been able to receive more than $400 million. Their attorneys are hungry for more, and they will probably be looking for agents who have pierced the veil of the protections and sue them and their firm. And there will be no protections for them. And in some cases, that could be huge liability, massive liability for these brokerages. Remember, look what RE/MAX and Anywhere and KW and Compass, they had to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in order to protect themselves and settle these agreements for themselves. And so National Association of Realtors did that for all of us. So what we can do to continue protecting ourselves and lower the risk for ourselves and our broker is to comply with the National Association of Realtors settlement agreement, which protects us. So I hope this helps clarify some of the confusion that's out there. Remember, there can be no information in the MLS as it pertains to compensation. We must have a written agreement before touring a home when we represent a buyer in a non-intermediary scenario. And of course, the big one, when we're talking about cooperative compensation, I first want to make sure that everyone understands that it's not the cooperative compensation is confidential or secret. If you're the listing broker and you're offering cooperative compensation, it's not that you can't advertise it. It's that you can't advertise it on a site that aggregates multiple brokers together. So what are your advertising mediums? Flyers in the driveway? Perhaps a yard sign? Although personally, I think that that's kind of a lowbrow thing to do, because I can think of all of the amazing things that we could do to advertise a property. I don't think one of its best features is the commission that the seller is offering the buyer agent, perhaps the pool in the backyard or a nice view or a 3-car garage. So I'm not sure that the commission rises to the level of being one of the most important things that we want to display to the buyers walking in the front door, but that's for the listing broker and their agent to decide. But putting it on a flyer, putting it on your company website, all of these things are things that you can do to help get the message out for cooperative compensation, or if the seller has opted to cooperative compensation and the broker has, advertising it in those types of mediums. I've seen lots of funny things like agents hiding it in the lockbox cradle. We're paying compensation. Well, I would say that the lockbox is for most agents an extension of the MLS, unless it's a combination lockbox that they have. So maybe that's just one of those technicalities that it would be the MLS facilitating that conversation. So maybe that's not a good place for it, but your company website is a great place for it if your broker has built in the features allowing you to be able to display compensation, as long as it's only that broker's website. And flyers in the yard, and maybe in a packet inside the home. When the buyer's touring the home, they pick up a copy of the property survey and maybe a seller disclosure packet along with some information regarding cooperative compensation. So if you have any questions regarding cooperative compensation or any of the NAR rules, remember, I am a National Association of Realtors director, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have. My personal email address is jack@realtytexas.com. I will include it in the comments. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this video, and happy selling.